about the real dangers on Earth right now. Number one being money. Number two, politicians. Number three, journalists and drugs. Number four, religions. And it talks about the importance of being spiritual, but not to be religious, because organized religions tend to serve their own purposes. It talks about reincarnation, talks about the meaning of life, which is to learn spiritual lessons and to have this kind of self-realization at the end. We have to progress step by step and move up the ladder once we are ready spiritually.
Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. I am your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master San Qing, and I have a really interesting guest here today. I've been very excited to want to talk to him more in depth about the mastery and the unraveling that he put to an incredible prophecy, the Thiaoouba Prophecy. He translated it into basically Mandarin, right? It was Mandarin.
Chinese.
So distributed through China, a bestseller. And I imagine it went through Asia also, yes? Or just China? Is it just
China and Taiwan.
China and Taiwan. And so I want to welcome to the podcast today, Samuel Chong. How are you, my friend?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to have you here. And we have a mutual love for Chinese culture, for Chinese history. And it's just a part of who I am, my dear friend. And I'm very grateful to have you here and someone else that comes from the roots and the foundation of what I live and breathe on a daily basis. And then moreover, you're able to give back this incredible insight from this prophecy to the culture and awareness of the East. And there's some incredible insights to help us unravel and decode what is the present, the future, and things that, if led correctly and listened to, will make a massive and fundamental difference to mankind by taking this incredible insight from an extraterrestrial perspective. Please share with us a little bit about how you ended up getting to this point and what created this bond that you had with this material.
Well, I was a very curious person by nature. I was reading a lot of books when I was in China about the paranormal. And I thought if the ETs could come and visit us, they must have advanced technologies and knowledge, and we can just learn from them. So to progress at a much faster pace. So in my subconscious mind, I was always looking for books written by ET contactees. But it's not about any book. It has to be a book that contains information that is specific and verifiable. And I've been looking for such a book, but in 2014, I finally found this book that contains so many fascinating specific facts that I was later able to verify and do further investigations.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how the seed of curiosity, from a Taoist perspective, the seed of the seeker of Taoism, a Taoist seeker, it starts with that, curiosity, removing the veil between conscious and unconscious process, i.e., accessing a higher ascension, some type of information, for example, insight into the spirit or entities of the ET extraterrestrials transmitting this information. What was the biggest highlight of the book that really captured your skeptical validation? Because really, as a Taoist seeker, we always must be self-evident, self-realized through the conscious cultivation, and that's why our eternal alchemy practices are so powerful, because that validates what we're in right now.
Yeah, the book connects all the dots. It's actually the missing link for all the paranormals on Earth. For example, it explains who built the Great Pyramid of Egypt, for what purposes, and it explains what happens in the Bermuda Triangle. It explains where we all came from originally. In fact, we didn't evolve from apes or gorillas or monkeys. We all came from different planets originally. And how the creator created everything, like the stars, the planets, animals and plants and people on Earth and other planets. And also it talks about the stories in the Bible, like who really destroyed the two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, who parted the sea of reeds for Moses, and who gave the Hebrews mannas to eat to survive during the Exodus journey, who put the embryo into the uterus of Virgin Mary, that the young Jesus was able to be born, and who is actually Christ, that someone who was crucified and then resurrected 3 days after. And also it talks about the real dangers on earth right now. Number one being money. Number two, politicians. Number three, journalists and drugs. Number four, religions. And it talks about the importance of being spiritual, but not to be religious, because organized religions tend to serve their own purposes. It talks about reincarnation, talks about the meaning of life, which is to learn spiritual lessons, and to have this kind of self-realization at the end. We have to progress step by step and move up the ladder once we are ready spiritually. It also explains the interventions of the ETs in the past. For example, they prevented Germany from being the first country to develop the atomic bomb. And I did some research. That's for during World War II. I did some research. There was a German scientist called Dr. Heisenberg, who was far more advanced than the American scientists in developing the atomic bomb. But he made a very stupid mistake, mysteriously. And then Hitler read his report and decided to give up the plan of developing an atomic bomb, because according to the report, Germany didn't have that many natural resources to make the bomb. But that's a very stupid mistake that Dr. Heisenberg made. And also it talks about many things. It gives a very high praise to the Buddha. And that's an earthling that, according to the book, but Christ is actually an ET, actually came from a different planet. And actually it has a lot of connection to Taoist philosophy, encouraging people to follow nature so that we can attain the ultimate goal by the fastest path. So it's actually a mixture of everything, connecting all the dots. There's a lot of fascinating, specific facts that people can verify. I was able to verify a lot of the facts, interesting facts, in which I can elaborate later.
Yeah, I would love to go down that path. So let's look at what was the first piece of information you validated and verified yourself that really set you on this path.
The first fact that I was able to validate was the tomb of Jesus in Shingo Village, Japan, that was mentioned in the book. Remember, the author Michel de Marquet was a French-Australian farmer, a landscaper, who didn't have a lot of education. He didn't even know how to use a computer. And he published the book back in 1993, years before the age of the internet, especially in Australia. There was no way for him to do a search and find whether there was a tomb of Jesus in Japan or not. And I'm sure that most people in the past, and even nowadays, don't know about this. But if you do a search on the internet, you're able to find validated and verified facts that there is indeed a tomb of Jesus in Shingo Village, Japan. And then the book also describes that next to the tomb, there's another tomb which buried a lock of the hair of Jesus' brother, who died in China. And according to the journalists reporting on the tomb of Jesus in Japan, they say that there is indeed another tomb next to the tomb of Jesus in Japan. So a lot of corroborating facts, validating each other, that really surprised me. How could the author know about this? And it's just incredible. And also explains perfectly the stories in the Bible, like how come Jesus, according to the Bible, never performed any miracles before the age of 30? And why some people say that he went to India, and why, like Christ, all of a sudden became this kind of omnipotent person performing all the miracles after he began preaching. And why did Christ, like when he saw his mother, he didn't call his mother mother, he called his mother woman. It's very impolite in many different cultures, in all cultures. I'm a linguist. I know that because of special relationship between mother and the son, it's impossible for any language in the world in which someone would call his mother a woman. Naturally, it's just impossible. So the book explains everything perfectly, and showing that indeed Jesus was born from a virgin, just to show people at that time that someone extraordinary was going to be born that way, and also to fulfill prophecies. But that Jesus, even though he was highly spiritual, he couldn't perform miracles because when the astral body goes into the embryo, it has to pass through what the ancient Nagas call the river of oblivion, forgetting all the events that happened in the past lives and forgetting all the knowledge to perform miracles. But Christ is a different entity from from the planet Thiaoouba, who actually took on the body made by them that resembled the body of Jesus, just to be able to perform miracles. Because people in the past, as well as people nowadays, are highly skeptical. They just wouldn't believe the teachings of anyone. They would need to see in their own eyes as someone performing miracles in order for the teachings to be believed. This is why, like Christ had to perform miracles, and he indeed died on the cross and resurrected 3 days after, just to show people that there is life after death and there is reincarnation. But the Catholic Church Council meetings took out the concept of reincarnation away from the Bible because for one reason or another. So that's the reason why people don't see the word reincarnation in the Bible anymore.
It's interesting how that crosses over, as you refer to, organized religion. I mean, Taoism is many things: philosophy, the Tao of metaphysics, the understanding of the more traditional religious stuff that I teach people, which is more an embodiment of understanding the Taoist seeker's relationship with the mother. You access that through the Wu Ji, which is between the breath in and the breath out of what is assembled and resembles Taoist teaching, yin and yang. And so accessing that stillness is where you acquire perfection manifest, which cannot be obtained from this 3D electromagnetic spectrum. It's not possible. This is a distorted version of perfection that is created by your attention intention through the light to wave to matter particle realization. Energy is generated from your attention. It forms into a vibration. The vibration has a frequency. That frequency, if met with resonance, acquires this incredible epiphany, miracle, something beyond anything that you see in this realm. And when you mention Jesus, he is indeed an example of a healer that did somehow, from what I'm aware of, and anytime I've ever worked with his energy, his spirit and energy, healing others through that very sense, he's always had this profound connection that has some type of like element of culture. It's just very clear, very, very clear. You know, you would understand this, that this is part of how powerful Taoist alchemy is. It's still second to none. There isn't a person on the face of the earth, that any system that will come even close to the relationship a Taoist has with the universe. And by using things like, for example, you mentioned the pyramids. This is a very interesting thing. China is layered with pyramids all over the landscape. People don't even understand the magnitude of this. And then there's a question: why is the top cut off? Most of the pyramids have the tops cut off. Well, specifically, that is because we use Taoist magic, i.e. star stepping. We draw grids and we connect with the constellations that are the mirroring effects of what's taking place on planet Earth, and channel and harness those energies to perform what you would call miracles or manifestation. And within Taoist magic, that alchemy is present within that. It's so interesting, the correlation. So you had the verification of Jesus's tomb in Japan. What was the next epiphany that you had? What was the third verification from the book that made it so profound?
Yeah, so back to the Jesus story. So Jesus, the one who was born from Virgin Mary, traveled to India and through China and died in Japan. So there's a tomb of Jesus in Japan, but Christ is a different entity. So that's the really got me shocked from the book, which made me realize that this book is something extraordinary. The second fact is the effects of colors. When Michel Desmarquet, the author, entered into the spacecraft of the highly advanced ETs, they disinfected him using yellow light and blue light. I was very shocked and it felt really strange using colors of lights. But I did the research. It turns out that Harvard Medical School had a paper on the antibacterial anti-effects of certain wavelengths of blue light. And that was published years after the book Thiaoouba Prophecy was published. And just like a few years ago, there was another paper that published in the medical community indicating that certain wavelengths of yellow light also have antibacterial effects. So the ETs knew that using yellow light and blue light, they can disinfect like 90% of the Michel Desmarquet's body. So that's another verifying fact. And they suggest us to look into the effects of colors. And I did research on that as well, because different colors have different therapeutic effects as well. Too. Like the green color green, it has the effect of treating migraines or treating or alleviating headaches. And the color pink will cause a person's muscle strength to be reduced by 30%. So,
well, it creates depression. From a Taoist alchemy practice, pink is the deepest portal to oppression, depression, possession. For example, I'm in my lineage, one of the things that I specialize in is exorcisms. So depression is huge. And where that takes you is a whole new ballgame. And just from your own admission, through your own research, pink reduces the strength, right?
yeah. Muscle strength to be specific. so a football coach in the US, like from the University of Iowa, he knew about this. So he painted the locker rooms of the visiting teams into pink color, and he rarely lost a home game. So so that's what he did, Coach Hayden. So he did it. There are other facts that really intrigued me from this book, including mention about the U.S. government releasing hundreds of millions of needles into space in the 1960s. I did some research. It turns out to be Project Westford, in which they were trying to improve the telecommunication signals by sending the hundreds of millions of copper needles into space so that the signals would bounce back from the needles back to Earth, so that the signals would be stronger. But the ETs believe that they're going to be harmful to the people on Earth, so they collected the needles that they sent out in space. And it turns out that the two launches that the US government did in the 1960s failed for unknown reasons. So that's another verifying fact. So in the book, if you read between the lines, you're going to see a lot of practical information that can be verified. It talks about the political system of ancient civilizations. One interesting fact that I found to be very interesting is that we originally all came from different planets. The yellows and the blacks originally came from a planet called Bacratini back 1.35 million years ago. But there were several great resets because of natural disasters. For example, at like millions of years ago, like 1.32 million years ago, there was an asteroid that hit Earth after being split into three parts that caused almost the entire civilization to be wiped out. So we lost the ancient knowledge from the ancient civilizations. And there was also another great reset back 14,500 years ago when the continent of Lemuria sunk into the ocean. and also when Atlantis also had sunk into the ocean as well, we lost a lot of the knowledge from ancient civilizations, such as the technology to build the Great Pyramid, or the knowledge to create anti-gravitational effects. But I do know people who can still levitate. I mean, there's people can just do a search on YouTube. There's a magician called Dan White who visited Nepal, and he documented how a Nepali monk levitated in front of his eyes. He didn't know how the monk did it. He didn't know how the monk did it. But I have a friend of mine who practiced qigong when he was young. He was able to connect his energies from the dantian or the stomach area, and then to go through this kind of meridian lines, and then to back to the Chinese meridians, and do a circle. And then he fasted for 3 or 4 days or so. And then in a total relaxation state, he levitated.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to achieve that kind of state of mind.
No,
Uh,
100%. I've personally met 3 people that levitate in my lifetime. 2 are yogi, Kundalini gurus, and 1 was one of my students. I just don't. It's not for me. Doesn't get me all warm and fuzzy inside. That particular reference you're talking about is more traditionally a bastardized version of microcosmic orbit, which is a Taoist like a cultivational practice, which is entry level stuff. But your friend took that and was able to use that to generate the levitation, which is phenomenal. It's awesome.
yes. It's very good to learn the English vocabulary, because I know how to say that in Chinese, not
Yeah. Microcosmic orbit. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
小周天 in Chinese. But the ETs can levitate. They can perform all the miracles as performed by Christ. They never age because they can regenerate their body tissues and cells. So they're beautiful, like 9 or 10 foot tall, blonde, sexy looking, and they actually they look like female women, but they're actually hermaphrodites, having both male and female sexual organs, and they can perform all the miracles as performed by Christ. So they can materialize objects. They can communicate through telepathy. They can disappear out of a sudden. They can join and rejoin the great spirit of the great ether. So they are masters of everything. So they are kind of behaving like our mentors, giving principles of guidance to us, so that we can grow and develop our spirituality.
Yeah. I mean, that's always fascinating. That's part of like the Taoist alchemy path, is being able to separate electric from magnetic. I've gone as far as being able to put someone on a wet cloth, get them to stand on it, give them an electric shock from own energy that I've generated. And it has to do with the internal processes of, in the Taoist lineage that I teach people, this upper dantian is the sun, the middle dantian is the earth, the lower dantian is the moon. And people go, whoa, hang on, that's against all fundamentals of the periodic table, of any sort of alchemical processes. And there's no way you merge fire and water to create that substance. Well, it is a substance, and it comes from what we call within Taoism the primordial mother, which is the all-knowing ancient access that we can refer to. And that chill you're getting right now is, what I'm talking about is real. You're like, hang on a second, what he's saying, I'm getting that feeling that I got when I read this book. It's the same feeling, because it's the feeling that validates what is true. And that's part of that barometer that you have as a physical body. And so that visceral kinesthetic response you're having is a validation. Mm-hmm. And so most people, anyway, I've never seen alchemy taught that way I teach it, because I get it directly I did get it from my lineages, but then my teachers directly, Lao Tzu and the 3 pure ones, which are the keepers of the cosmos within Taoism. So they are basically the creation, the conception to creation of the cosmos. supreme purity, jade purity, highest purity. And they have taught me all the inner workings. And from that, you can do some crazy stuff like envelop my forearm, stick a skewer through it, pull it out. You won't see the entry or exit point. That's really great. I can embody anesthesia immediately, and healing is instantaneous, as it should be. So anything that you're speaking on, I know 100% is real. And to some degree, outside of materializing something in my hand, if I went poof, oh, look, I have yet to see that. But as for physical flesh reforming before my very eyes, like gangrenous tissue going back to pink in color in 40 minutes, bones fuse, tumors disappear, people walk that haven't walked for 20 years, instant healing of all different kinds you can't see, you can see, gashes sealing up before my eyes. I mean, I've seen it. It's real. All of it is 1,000,000% absolutely real. And I've attributed through my teachers is the resonance that you acquire. So I'll bring a resonance to a space. There's the cultivational practice that you develop, which I recommend anyone to develop. But to get to that point where you're witnessing a miracle, you can't be a place, person, or thing. There's absolutely no title. It has to be the present moment. And have you ever bent spoons before, metal of any kind?
Me personally, no, but I know people who can.
Right. So that's always the ground level stuff I like to teach people, because watching flesh transmute back to its original state is the same very fundamentals. So when you're using the Shen, the Shen projection within Taoism, the upper Dantian is not the third eye. There's actually 9 eyes to this actual Dantian and 81 chambers within that Dantian. Each chamber has a different facet of what we call the magical register, which is what I teach with the Tao Te Ching. And so in each incantation, which someone would call a verse, is 81 levels of consciousness you acquire, plus a frequency, a color, and a vibration. That one you got right now went, ah, ha, ha, ho, ho. I want to read that Tao Te Ching. And I will give you a copy, my dear friend, because you're going to go, holy moly, this is crazy. This is like on another level, as it should be, because it's a living scripture. And when we call it the magical register, it is because it's the seed of the magic and everything is contained within it. The seeker will find the answers to all things within each verse. Each verse is an incantation. Each verse helps you remember the mother and returning to the center point. Oh, yes, my friend. Yes. Yeah, look, I can see how excited you are about that, because it's true. Yes. And, all this stuff that you're validating, I'm a skeptic. Unless you show me or I experience it, it means nothing to me. It's like, you have to experience these things. And that's why I love Taoism, because it's a self-realized path for the individual to return. It's not necessarily something where you're praying to something. There are gods, there are immortals, but this is where we call them. They are the dialogue that you have to the monologue, which is the mother. So by having that by obtaining that monologue through the dialogue, you acquire this insight, which some people would call in the New Age world the Akashic records, halls of Amente, source. You obtain that, and you know it when you're there. This is
exactly, yes. Very good. And this book actually talks about the number 9 being the number of the universe.
That is the number.
Yes, that's the number that not only Taoism emphasizes, but also like Nikola Tesla and also in the Chinese Taoist literature, like Journey to the West. That's actually a Taoist literature. So people have to go through.
It's not just a TV show. Right.
It's not a TV show. They have to read the original literature.
But there is an actual TV show that they created.
There is, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, but that's nothing like the actual canons and the literature.
Right. Because in the literature, it actually teaches you how to meditate, how to make your qi or energy flow like the turtle and the snake. The turtle being the dantian, the grounded turtle, and also the snake being the kundalini energy.
Kundalini rising, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different, the stuff that I teach, but I teach what they call the Wu Ji infinite body. So all of a sudden, you'll have a Kundalini experience that will make that look like nothing. This stuff polarizes. It activates and polarizes, and your head will blow off. You'll never be the same. Once you switch the light on, it's never off. That's part of the energetic potential of what we speak of. It never turns off. It only becomes more magnified and concentrated, just like as we refer to within Taoism, we call the mother of perfection the diamond. Everything is a facet of the diamond, right? So compression of that is what takes place, is the concentration of that substance we call qi, we call the mother, we call Tao, and there's nothing like it on planet Earth. And when you obtain it and you're able to cultivate it, all bets are off, my friend.
Yes, definitely. A lot of connecting points or common philosophies of Taoism and also this book. This book has a lot of very interesting information. Like it says, we have 9. So the universe works like there's a pattern in which 9 planets revolve around a star like the sun, and then 9 suns revolve around the bigger sun, and then 9 bigger suns revolve an even bigger sun, until the center of the universe where everything was created. He also talks about the creation, like the universe, the great spirit imagined everything, and then suddenly there is a big bang or explosion in which stars, planets, animals, plants, and human beings were created. But when it created human beings, it inserted a tiny portion of itself into each one of us. So we are part of the creator, and the creator is part of us. The creator created human beings like us in order to experience what we experience in a physical world. Because it's a pure spirit, it needs a physical environment to experience the happiness, the sorrowness, and also the challenges that we face in life. And the meaning of life is that we learn spiritual lessons in each of our lifetime. So we Michel Desmarquet, the author, was actually taken back to his past lives and actually saw who he was in each of his past lives. So each of his past lives, he had a different role. He had a different spiritual lesson to learn, and he was able to kind of experience everything. And according to the ETs, the roles of different past lives are just like different positions on a wheel. What goes up has to come down. So we have to experience all the different roles on the wheel in order to complete the entire circle. So that's the gist of life.
Which has a very detailed reference within Taoism. We refer to everything as a bellows. Everything is contracting and expanding at the same time. You, as a seeker, to find the knowing, to return to who you are, you'll access that present moment, which is access to the mother. And that is the Vesica point, the center of all things, which we call Wu Ji. And so Wu Wei is effortless action, effortless effort. And that's flow state. That's you being a representation of this present moment, you remembering you are the mother of all things. And that's where people like go, well, if the mother is yin, then where's the father? The father is a reflection of the mother. That's the part of the dualistic understanding of this realm. To obtain the oneness, everything is coming from conception. Everything comes from that primordial mother. And so from conception to birth, how long does it take to create human life? 9 months. 9 months. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. And, part of that is the reference to my teacher, the Yellow Emperor, who speaks about his communication with the universe And when he came down from a celestial dragon to planet Earth within the universe, he was then pinned to the ground, magnified to the earth for 18 days and 18 nights, and was downloaded the whole infrastructure of the Chinese culture as you know it. And it's wild. And, you know, just that charge you got right now is like, oh, he's not kidding. This stuff is real. And the exciting part is, how do I know this? Because, you know, my clairsenses are heightened. I've been doing this 30 years. I see the energy, I see the auras, and then I feel them if I choose to. That's part of that mystical, supernatural, paranormal potential that is removing the veil. That's why Taoism is so exciting.
Yes, speaking of auras, the book emphasizes the importance of being able to see and interpret auras. It says that the human energy fields are so important that you can, if you're able to see and interpret them, you're able to see who is more sincere and who is more kind of not so sincere. It would have been very easy if people can see auras because they would be able to choose the politicians much more easily than nowadays. People are confused. People are divided. But
Well,
if they're able to see auras, then everything will be resolved.
well, if you still need a level up on seeing auras, you can take one of my courses, because I teach people that all the time. When you're a Taoist, you have to be able to see the fundamentals. So you look at the first 9 energy centers. Normally, through a Taoist path of cultivational practice, we lead up to 108. But let's just start with the first 9 as an entry level, which is the human and their connection with the earth and the universe. And by activating those, some people call them chakras, you will create the fluidity and clairsense, sight, hearing, smell, taste, all that becomes magnified, and sensory perception, all bets are off. There's no limit to what your potential is, quite frankly. And so, you know, seeing auras is a nice little ground level starting point. But, you know, people get a little perturbed. I always tell people, you know, if you want me to read your aura, tell me. And I always ask them, and they're like, oh, sure, read my aura. And I start at the bottom. I always start with their connection with the earth. And then by the time I get to what they call the root chakra from a Hindu practice, we just call it the second dantian, what happens is you can understand someone's boundaries very quickly, where they're at in their own life experiences and how they understand things. So when we look at the energy, there's an excess of deficiency between emotion and virtue. When you dissolve the emotion, the virtue is revealed. And that's all within the system that you can see quite clearly when you're cultivated. And, you know, the 5 vital elements being, you know, earth, wind, water, fire, metal, they have their own protectors and teachers, which is the red phoenix, the green dragon, the black turtle and snake, or moreover, dark blue turtle and snake. And then you have the white tiger, and of course, earth itself. And so these elements are within you, and you can very clearly just read someone's mental, emotional state like a menu when you're able to see that. So I always go from the bottom. By the time I hit the sexual energy, they're like, whoa, 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 you need to stop. This stuff is real. I mean, it's very real. The thing is I don't get attached to an approval rating. I'm not looking for you to validate that I'm the next coming of Jesus. These are systems that have been around for thousands of years, handed down from generation to generation, and they're 100% real. And when you apply them, you all of a sudden become the local psychic. And that's not really, you know, my title is priest. It's not psychic, but it happens to be one of the effects of what you do when you cultivate these practices. And so, yes, when you say that, I 100% agree, because you very quickly can find out the true intention of someone when you can read their auric field, because all the emotions and the thoughts and feelings and everything are encapsulated within this physical flesh, and you can see it within the auric field. So,
yes. And you would tell which of the 2 political candidates is more sincere.
yeah,
immediately, right?
right. All this policy and everything. Every time someone asks for a prophecy reading, I go to Lao Tzu. Like earlier this year, Lao Tzu was asked very fundamental, what's going on with 2024? How is it going to end? And the first thing he said was he's quite a funny guy because he has a sense of humor. He said, I want you to imagine you're like a grain of sand, asking the beach, what are we doing today? Fall back into the beach and be realized. And I was just like, you can't make up this sort of sense of awareness. Then he goes into the earth will be hit by frequencies from the sun 9 times more potent than any other time in human history over the next 12 to 24 months. And that was the beginning of January. And so when you look at and measure things like Schumann resonance, I don't know whether you're familiar with that. Yeah. The Schumann resonance, if you don't have any emotional content, you're just a human being that runs off brainwaves. If you stand on planet Earth right now, the Schumann resonance of the Earth is 7.83, which puts you in line with what, if anyone doesn't understand what a brainwave is around a theta alpha brainwave. It's in that ballpark. So if you didn't have distortion of your emotional state, you could instantly be in this creative bliss state of awareness and alter your consciousness. Now, that doesn't really happen for most people. They have to cultivate, right? The whole purpose is to create. But there's an artificial manipulation going on right now where the Schumann resonance is starting to dip between 12 and 18 hertz. Now, I've had a couple of scientists that read that from Russia and Italy on the channel over the last year, and they confirmed what Lao Tzu had already spoken of. And I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, he talks in the larger picture of the universe. He doesn't speak in the semantics of human condition. He can go there if he wants you to, if you really want him to, but the essence is understanding you're a macro of a micro. He's going to speak to you in the levels that are applicable to your creation. What are you made of? What are you a reflection of? And so they validated this whole raising of this frequency. And we're looking at hertz in the next 12 months. Now it's about 12 months of anywhere between 40 and 60 hertz, which is basically high gamma, which in the world of brainwaves means you're 100% conscious. That means you can access epsilon, delta, theta, alpha, all at the same time as being in this gamma state. And so this goes in line with what you're speaking of. It's crazy, my friend. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. It says, according to the ETs, the auras affect the physical body, and our mind affects the aura. So it goes into a circle. It also emphasizes the importance of developing an aura camera, the one that is better than the ones currently on the market. So this actually has been one of my projects to do, is to use a machine to let people to perceive auras, so that the non-believers would see something more specific, concrete. I just need more data and to make it happen. So this is one of my goals.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just give someone a reading and then they freak out halfway through it because the information is, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. How can I possibly understand your mental emotional state? I don't claim to understand you. I'm just reading the information. And that's part of what's so important about that. And I urge anyone to walk that path, to cultivate these sensory perceptions, because it's available to all of us.
How can someone develop the ability to see auras? What's your kind of...
Well, there's a processes within Taoism, and there's a certain degree of development that comes from the energetic practices. Normally, to see auras and do most of the supernatural stuff that is within the stuff that I train, which is called the Taoist rites. It's like 6 to 12 months, and someone will be like off to the races. Pretty much, fundamentally, have all the clear senses. What happens is when you acquire it, it's still not the mother. It's a facet of it. So you acquire it, you go, wow, this is so cool. And then you go moving right along. And so the skill will never leave you, but then you continue to ascend. So there's 9 levels within the training I do with people, which is the physical body, energetic body, spiritual body, sun body, earth body, moon body, finally oneness body, ultimate body, and then being with all. And so when you're merged at that point, the highest level of ascension for any Taoist seeker is channeling pure source information. You have to acquire that. To acquire that, you have to understand what the energetic potential is. But aura seeking, I am just finishing up like a 2-day or 3-day program that I'm going to release, and I'll let you have it. You can have at it, my friend. Your desire for it is enough to acquire it. Now the question is holding that resonance. The resonance is really important because the distraction is the emotion. The emotion for you can be problematic. You have excess earth energy, right? Very, very grounded. You are very, very low density. And so from that, certain emotions are acquired. OCD behavior, anxiety, things of this nature present themselves as the primary emotional content that you fall on. Does this make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that is the juxtapose of the grounding. And once you regulate these energies, your eyes pop on, your clear sense, because I see it with my eyes open. I have to close my eyes. It pops on like predator thermal layering. You ever seen a movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No.
Have you ever seen thermal
cameras?
Yes.
Yes.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
And so you can just go, oh, here, here, here. So, when you do things like when I train people in, say, Bagua, Tai Chi, things of that nature, they seem like they're just beautiful forms of internal cultivation, yet they're quite deadly. But you have to see your opponent. So you project your spirit first and you attack their weakest organ, which has the most excess. So if you see someone who is driven by anger, you attack the liver. When you see someone who's driven by fear, you attack the kidneys. If you see someone's driven by anxiety, you attack the spleen. And instantly, the effects are the whole infrastructure for them collapses. And so aurically, if you're coming across anyone who's performing martial form of any kind, there's some degree of iron fist training, iron shirt training. These types of practices develop a density to the auric field. So when you're connecting with them, in most cases, if you have someone who's even slightly energetic, you'll have to hit them 3 times in the same spot before you break the field. And so you will determine that by how developed they are and whether they're, able to project the Shen. Are they really? The question is most people are not. Most people are very deficient in that. It's more a material thing. It's not that. But aurically, reading auras is really not a big deal. Like you're like, hang on a second, I've been reading this book, I've been publishing it for years, the aliens are telling me, and now I found this. I get this once in a while because a lot of the people I've worked with over decades are from Asian culture, Chinese culture, and some of them initially, when I turn up to them and they're like, you're a Taoist priest, you're a Guilo. Guilo is like white spirit. It's a derogatory term. They're like, how is it that you can perform all this stuff that I can't even find a native who's a native from China can do half the 20th of the things you can? Because just because I look this way doesn't mean I haven't been a part of this culture for thousands of years, which I have. And so they get mind blown and they're like, holy moly, this is the real deal. And so, yes, if that's something that you desire, I'll be more than happy to show you the path of how to cultivate that. And that'll happen for you quite quickly.
That'd be great.
Well, why not? I mean, everyone should be able to have these, what they consider superpowers. They're superpowers until you achieve it. And then you go, this is just a part of me being me. But it's exciting. I never get tired of it. You watch people and they cringe and curl up inside when you just reveal things about them that they don't want to reveal. And at first it's always playful and it's fun and you want to share. And then when they realize you can see it like the emperor's new clothes, then they're like, oh no, no more talking. Thank you.
Yeah, that's indeed. Yeah, I've been looking for people who can see auras for quite a while,
Yeah.
looking to gather more data and to
Yeah.
do things like that. But it's a very powerful tool, and I know for a fact that the high degree members of the Illuminati can also see auras and use that
Mhm.
as a tool to really draw people into their organization. So I think that's kind of like a ability or capability of certain people on Earth that actually originally came from ancient civilizations. So yeah.
Yeah, I know I did. I know. And so, it's these sort of supernatural things like I like pursuing like illusionists and magicians and mentalists that are more for entertainment value, like David Blaine and people of that nature, because they're pretending to do things I can teach them for real.
Yeah, no.
PK touch, psychokinesis, that's very real. And when you connect with someone else's aura, you could very easily touch someone from the other side of the world. And that electromagnetic potential is all got to do with how you cultivate your own, and then you access it yourself.
That's for sure. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would still encourage people to maybe get a chance and read the book because it contains a lot of the ancient histories, the ancient civilizations, and how and where we came about. And I think it's a valuable book for people to have. There's a lot of consistencies with Taoist philosophies, but with very practical information too. Yeah.
It's always incredible to get these type of insights, and I think what's so motivating and exciting is a part of all these things that was transcribed by the author, what, back in the 60s or the 70s? What was it?
It happened in 1978.
Right.
Yeah, actually, I was born, but it happened in 1987. Sorry, 1987, that he was having this kind of experience of being taken away by the ETs to their planet for 9 days and then came back. So he actually had this journey and gathered a lot of knowledge from the ETs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's profound. And, you know, we call, there's a certain process here called soul projection, and you can easily access past lives. I normally give people 9 lives leading up to this one because it helps put the pieces of the puzzle together, and you're able to get a great sense of what is going on now, presently, in your own spiritual consciousness. And then it brings you back to that state, that instant present moment. And people love this kind of stuff. They love it's that whole mystical stuff that is superpowers that you are lay dormant until otherwise noted, until they're developed. That's the whole point of it. I mean, we all have them. It's about developing these skills and being able to apply them. And that's where the skepticism. I agree with you. I'm the same. Unless you show me it, it's just bah, 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 bah. It doesn't mean much to me. I need to experience it. And so when you validated all these things within the book, it had you more than curious. You were invested because everything happened. And that would capture me in a heartbeat, because that's the validation you need.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a friend in Los Angeles who is associated with some of the Taoist organizations in China. We are thinking about doing something together to build like a Taoist temple or Taoist location for people to learn about Taoism, learn about the practices, so that they can have their own self-realization. This is in the plan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's part of the driving force for me. I'm sitting here in my Taoist temple, over 2,000 square feet. I've got artifacts and things that are long, long time ago that have been taken from. I've picked them up from all over the world, but specifically some very ancient pieces. And it's all part of remembering. But it's you have to be able to cultivate. Like a lot of my students are native to Chinese landscape because they've gone through a dozen Taoist temples, even some of the more popular ones, Dragon's Gate, Wudang. They don't hold the juice. They're not getting the juice. They're not getting the teachings. They're just being told.
I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yes.
And I really, it's a shame. It's a shame. And so, most of these people will come from around the world and come down here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that's where they get the real training. They're like, out of all the places, well, they just go, wow, what are the chances of this being here? Hey, listen, you're just the craziest thing. I mean, some of my favorite, fondest places here in America are, the good old-fashioned Chinatown in San Francisco. That used to have a lure. I came across so many things. Lao Tzu brought me back to one particular antique store in Chinatown where this guy held my command blocks when he first got over from China back in the 60s. He had all this Taoist stuff that he had acquired, and he held them in the back of his store until, the 2000s when I was drawn back to it by Lao Tzu. And he's like, I had no idea why I was holding this. And now here you go. And it's like, you can't make this stuff up. It's like, you just can't. And, there's a little less allure to what's present within, San Francisco. It still has a lot of mystical aspects to it, but it's not the same as it used to be. It's they've gutted it a little bit, but there's still a couple of Taoist temples. One I can reference right now, which is on Powell Street. It's called the Jade Empress Palace, and that's an interesting Taoist temple. But really, there isn't great examples of Taoist temples in America at all.
But if we do go to Las Vegas, we'll definitely visit you in person.
Yes, I would love that. I would love to, because my goal is to set up a Taoist temple and a Taoist school in 9 states. So each one will be in each state, and they'll have their cultivational practices, the teaching, the training. The practitioners can then bring their children to be taught a more fundamental understanding about Taoism and how powerful it is to embody it within their path and their own journey. And so many people don't realize. I mean, it really is so powerful, the messaging, and it's about self-realization.
Yes,
that's where it's not some hijacking of your mind, creating some belief system, getting indoctrinated into a cult. It's about your self-realization.
Exactly.
About you.
Yes.
And your connection and with the universe. It's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's keep in touch, and we'll definitely do something together.
Yes, I would love that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my students, disciples, 126s, and subscribers of this channel to go and check out Samuel's translation. Moreover, any of my students that are the OGs, just go and read the original text that was translated into simplified
Chinese.
Yeah, right. And so this way, they can get a deeper understanding and really connect with the material. And then, of course, just the traditional English language. Go and check it out, read it. But the most important thing is this conversation is an exercise in experiential moment of realization. This is a visceral, kinesthetic now moment. That's why my students love to watch the conversations I have with my guests, because they're experiencing and embodying the energetic potential that takes place between our conversation, and they're being able to. It's like sitting in class learning. It really is.
Yes, definitely a very rewarding experience for them.
Yeah, yeah, very rewarding, and I feel very grateful to have met you, my friend, and develop a friendship from this, because we have a common interest, which is our love for Taoism, and
Yes.
it's really so important that that's secured and that's validated, and that more and more people are aware of it. And you know, the truth is, people are not, because it was literally attempted to be erased off the planet of the earth by megalomaniacs that ran the country before the ones that are here right now. And this is why culture, ritual is dismissed, and new generations are not understanding the value of this messaging. My Mandarin teacher literally was crying in tears of joy because I gave her the translation from Lao Tzu, and as we're transcribing it into simplified, and it's also in pinyin, so that you can sing along to it if you don't understand the language itself or you can't read it, you can attempt to bastardize it through the pinyin. So, this is so much an experience. And so she started crying because she forgot. She was like, I remember I briefly touched on this when I was a young child, but I just lost my connection with how powerful this stuff is. Yeah, no joke. There's nothing like it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everyone go and check out your book. I'm going to put all your links at anywhere they can find you and connect with you. And I just want to thank you, my friend. Thank you for the conversation. I really appreciate you coming on.
And thank you. Thank you for the exchange and conversation. And let's keep in touch.
Yes, yes. I'll send you my cell phone, and we can keep in touch. And thank you. Appreciate it. I want to thank you. I want to thank the universe for bringing you into my life. I want to thank the audience for sharing their time with us today. I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Qing, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.